Hi, good morning to everyone. My name is Samrina and I'm Health and Social Care Lecturer at Birmingham campus. Today I'm going to present about the research methods and evidence-based practice module, and the module code is XSSCYP5073. So let's have a look from week 1 to week 3. So let's start from the week 1 and what are the learning outcomes we will go through on the next slide. You can see on this slide what are the learning outcomes for today's session. So for today's sessions, we'll go through about the introduction of the module, what is the aim of the module, and what is the structure of the module and what type of the tasks are included. And we will also go through about the assignments for this module. So we'll also have a look about the introduction to the workbook, that basically the workbook will be included some type of the activities that the students have to do to every week. So lastly, we will also go through the finding your topic. That means your research topic that is related to your first assignment. We will also go through to the next slide. So let's go through about the aim of the research. Basically, the first, if you can see on this slide, the first aim of the research is always conducted to know the experiences about the lives of people, including children, young people and families. It means it depends upon the research question. So what type of the individuals will be the part of that research and where they want to get the experience. So secondly, the aim of the research is when the researchers carry out the research, basically they carry out the different type of conducted or design different type of the research methods, and for example surveys, interviews, and all these methods are basically helping to solve any issues in our community. So they are from after analyzing, after collecting the data, and the researcher will go through after analysis, they find out the results. So it means researchers will be helpful after doing the research to provide some evidence. So on the basis of the evidence, the policymakers will design the policies that will be helpful for in any type of the organization. The next aim of the research is it will be helpful for the professional practice. For example, health and social care worker, if want to do the research, the evidence-based practice will be helpful for the professionals to work in their field. Further, the specific subject specific discipline, that is future research about a topic and what is taught at university about a topic. So future research means that when the researchers will carry out the research, and they also try to talk about the limitations of the research and where is a gap about the research. So when they talk about the gap or the limitation of their research, then it will be helpful for the researchers to carry out the research and to fill the gap. So all these are the some aims about the research on this slide. So let's have a look on to the next slide. So what is the purpose of this module? So basically this module, research method, evidence-based practice, is all related to the research and how the research is carried. Let's have a look. So because why you have to do the research? Basically research is not only important during your study time at the university level, but it also helpful at when you will do the professional work. How it will be helpful when you will do the professional work, because the research will help you to provide you the update informations about the latest trends. Further, it will also helpful to improve your skills and your knowledge how you can solve any issues or any type of the problem. So it means that research is not only important at the university level, but also when you will be working at the professional level in the field. So what is the research? Basically, research is designed to conduct the data and by using the different type of the methods, and after conducting the methods or the researcher have to analyze the results by using the different type of the statistical softwares, and on the basis of the results the researcher have to do conclude their work, like what this research is showing. So further, if you can see on this slide, what are the different approaches to the research and why would you choose one over another? The basic purpose of this statement is like the researchers have to select the different type of the approaches for carrying out their research, but the selection of the approach will depend upon the research questions. So basically there are two main types of the approaches to conduct the research. One is a qualitative research and other one is a quantitative research. So under the qualitative and the quantitative research, different methodological approaches that researchers can use. So what research is currently out there? Further research will also help us, like where you can find out the latest information about the present research that has already been completed by the other researchers. So where you can find out the authentic data, basically you can use PubMed, Science Direct, or LTU Online Library and Google Scholar. According to the LTU guidelines, is not been allowed to carry out the research for this module. So further, it's how you can design the research. For the designing of the research, first of all, you have to go through the systematic literature review journal articles, and you have to read it properly, and after reading properly you have to find out the research gap. So where is the research gap and where you want to do the research? After finding out the research gap, that is your research question. Basically on the basis of the research question, the researcher want to design their research. For example, as I've already discussed, there are basically two types of the approaches. One is the qualitative approach and other is the quantitative approach. And for conducting the, if you want to conduct the qualitative approach, there are some types of the methods that researchers can use. For one of the example is a survey, another one is an interview. So if the researcher want to design their research by using the qualitative approach, they can use these methods to collect the data. Similarly, for the quantitative research, the researchers can use and one of the example is experimental methodological approach. So on this and the selection and the designing of the methodological approach is also depends upon the type of the research question. So now you can say the research problem as well. So after designing and collecting the data, the researcher have to do interpretation of the findings. So how they can do the interpretation of the findings or the results, they need to use a different type of the statistical approaches. So what type of the statistical approaches the researchers can use? few of the examples. If you can see, one is the SPSS software and another is GraphPad Prism. So these are the two examples. There are also other examples that can be used, but it depends upon the type of the research. Either it is primary or the secondary research. But the students have to go through the secondary research at level 5 during your study. So let's have a look on to the next slide. So let's have a look about your research journey. During the semester 1, you have to first of all read the different type of the research articles that's been included, the systematic literature review journal articles. After reading, the students have to design their research according to their research question. Basically, the designing of the research is a part of the both semester 1 and the semester 2. In semester 2, the students will conduct the research and they have to complete their second assignment in the semester 2. We will discuss about the assignments for this module on to the next slide. So let's talk about the assessment and deadlines during the semester 1. During the semester 1, students have to complete one research presentation that is basically a 10 minutes. The students have to present, and 5 minutes they have to define their work by answering the specific type of the question. It's a total 1,000 words equivalent. It is a 50% part of the module, and for the deadline, please refer to your assignment brief. The module learning outcomes that's been related to this presentation, that is the research presentation, is module learning outcome 1, 2, and 3. About the module learning outcomes, we will have a look onto the next slide. The students will get the final summative feedback after 15 days of their submission work. So let's have a look about the module intended learning outcomes. That is basically the part of the research presentation. The first learning outcome is knowledge of a range of the research methodologies, including their key features and their appliances in subject-specific disciplines. That means the students have to find out different type of the research methodologies, and it depends upon their area of the research. The second learning outcome is they have to evaluate the research methodologies according to the research question on the basis of the strengths and weaknesses of the research methods. Ethical consideration is the last learning outcome that is related to your presentation. The students have to also talk about what type of the ethical issues can be raised when they're doing the research, and it also depends upon the number of the participants, like what type of the participants they have, and for example the children, families, and the communities. So on these slides, these all three learning outcomes are the part of the research presentation. So let's have a look what the students have to do during this semester 1 for conducting their research presentation. First of all, the students have to pick an area of the interest. That means where they want to do the research, and it depends upon your interest as well. Further, you have to explore the current knowledge about the selected topic and how you can explore the current knowledge about your selected research topic. It means you have to go through different type of the systematic peer literature review journal articles. Further, you have to find out different type of the methods, like which methods are appropriate to solve the research problem. Finally, you have to reflect or which method is the most appropriate in your research area, and how you can do it depends upon the evaluation of this method section. And how you can do the evaluation, you have to find out the strength and weaknesses of the used method, and then you can conclude your work. So let's discuss about this Mr. 1 assignment in more detail. The students have to first of all select their one topic, that means the area of the interest, that means where they want to carry out their research presentation. After selection the area of the interest, they have to find out the different type of the research methods, and how these are appropriate to solve the research issue. The students should at least to add the 3 different methods in the research presentation. Here are the some examples for the different type of the research methods. For example, interviews, surveys, experiments, and observations. But the selection of the method will also depends upon your type of the question and how you are approaching your research as well. Then they have to discuss their research and what are the findings from these methods. Further, the students have to also explain about the strengths and limitations of each method. The data extraction tool is a compulsory part of this research presentation. So that means data extraction tool is a 50% part of the research presentation, and they have to complete the data extraction tool according to the finding research literature. So after completing their assignments, they have to present their work according to the allocated time slots by their lecturer. This research presentation is not only helpful during the semester 1, but it will be helpful at the semester 2, because in the semester 2 you have to design your research. Further, this research presentation will also be helpful for your final dissertation writing at level 6. On this slide, some examples from the last year has been added. So if you want to conduct your research on one of the topic, it's okay, but it's not compulsory that you can only select these topics for carry out your research presentation. If the students want to select another research area according to their interest, and they have to look around which area, research area is related to their degree, that is the BSc in Health and Social Care. So it is really compulsory when you are selecting your any type of the research topic that should be related to your relevant degree. So let's start again for the week 2 for our module research method and evidence-based practice. Our today's session learning outcomes are first of all, how the students can identify the research about his selected area of research, and what is how they can read the different type of the research articles, and then finally how they can extract the data from different type of the literature review. So basically there are 2 types of the research. One is the primary research and the second one is the secondary research. So it's for the primary research, the researcher have to collect the data. They have to, that means they have to collect the new data after designing their research, and they can collect the data from the field. Another type of the research is the secondary research, that is also called as desk-based research. Here the students have to collect and analyze the existing knowledge about the selected topic. Basically, all the students have to use two types of the methods throughout the 2 years. That means level 5 and level 6. They can use systematic literature review, and other is a rapid evidence literature review. So what is a systematic literature review? A systematic literature review is a thorough and structured analysis of all available data according to your research question. And it involves different type of the methods, and to ensure the reliability and minimize the uncertainty in the research. So the rapid evidence basically follows the same approach, but it with a simplified research and fewer studies, providing the quicker insight for the decision making. You can see during the COVID-19, the quick decision was required to solve the issue. So that's why the rapid evidence review was better as compared to systematic literature review during the COVID-19. But the students have to go through the systematic literature review for their research presentation, because from the systematic literature review, they will find a deeper understanding and knowledge about their research topic. So on this slide, you can see how the researchers can identify the research by and what is the complete process. First of all, the students can use the different type of the database sources, and it should be authentic. The students have to search by adding the different terms on these databases, and inclusion and exclusion criteria should also be considered during the whole process. On the next slide, we will go through in more detail. So let's talk about first what is the database. Database basically is an organized collection of a different type of the research academic sources, and these may be the journal articles, maybe the books. You can also find out the conference papers and the dissertations on different type of the databases. So what are the examples of the databases? For example, I've already explained these are Science Direct, for example. Other one is the PubMed. You can also use the LTU online library for searching the different type of the different type of the literature review, and it depends upon your research area. So academic databases basically provide high quality peer literature review, and all the informations on the academic databases are more reliable. For this module, the students can't use the Google and Google Scholar, because most of the data on the Google and Google Scholar is not reliable. So the first step that you have to take, the researchers need to consider where they can find out the database. So database is selection of the database is really important for finding out the systematic literature review. because for the business and scientific research, databases are different. So the selection of the literature review journal articles is very rigorous when you for your research presentation. So the researchers have to consider both the inclusion and the exclusion criteria. So what is inclusion criteria? That means they have to select the authentic paper that should be the research articles. And all these, the second things they have to consider, the all the selected research articles should be published within the last 10 years. So it means you have to find out the latest research about your selected area of research. The second criteria is the exclusion criteria. The books, they cannot be used, the books for your finding the research journal articles, and further you have to select the only research articles that's been published in English, and because for your research presentation, for selection of the journal articles, only English language is compatible. On this slide, the complete structure of the research journal articles been given. So first of all, you can see the abstract of the research article. Further on the research journal articles, you can see the introduction or literature review. That is, you can say the background about your selected area of research. Further, you can see the methods or the methodology section, like what type of the methods they have used to collect the data. After collecting the data, you can see the next section, that is the analysis or results or the findings, where the researchers will show the results about their data, like what type of the results or the findings they have find out. After the results section on the literature journal articles, you can see the discussion. The discussion part is basically the researcher will discuss about their findings. The next will be the implication, how this research is implicated to our present field to solve any issues, and how this research will be helpful for making a certain type of the specific policies. The last part of the literature review journal articles you can see as limitations and the future research. That means the researcher will give an idea like where is the limitation of the present research and where future research is required. On this slide, the data extraction tool template has been added. That is the compulsory part of your first assignment for your module, that is research presentation. Students have to submit the whole file, that means the research presentation slides and extraction tool in one file. So how you can fill this extraction tool? So you have to write down the author's name after searching and collecting and finalizing the any type of the journal articles related to your research topic. You have to write down the author's name. Then you have to write down the title of the journal article. Then you have to mention where this research is about, that is the topic of the research. Then you have to mention what type of the samples, who are the sample are involved in that research paper. Next, you have to mention which methods have been selected for conducting their research. The last section is the results sections. Here you need to write down what are the results from that perspective, peer literature review, journal articles. So in this way, you have to fill all this extraction tool by finding the different type of the systematic literature journal articles. And after completing, you have to submit this extraction tool within the file of your research presentation on the Turnitin link. So let's start our week 3 lecture that is basically related to the qualitative research methods, and we will discuss two methods, interviews and focus group during this week. So on these slides, today's session's learning outcomes have been added. So let's have a look on the next slides. So let's talk about what is qualitative research. Qualitative research basically helps the researchers to understand the people's or humans, individuals' beliefs, their experiences, their attitudes and behaviors. And it's been qualitative research is done by collecting the non-numerical data. Its basic aim is to provide a detailed and contextual understanding of human experiences. And according to Danzin, in 1989, he describes basically the qualitative research as a thick descriptions. That means deep and detailed understanding of the social interactions in the society. This approach basically allows the researchers to explore the complexities of our social world. So let's talk about the first methods for the qualitative research. That is an interview method. So what is an interview? An interview is a structured conversation where the researchers basically want to gather the detailed information from their participants by asking the certain type of the questions. It is the most commonly used methods in the qualitative research according to the Kingsley 2022. Interviews basically help researchers to explore people's experiences, opinions, their behaviors, and different perspectives in more detail. Interviews can be conducted either by phone or by face-to-face, and it vary in structure depending on the research goals as well. So let's talk about the interview in a method in more detail. Mostly the interview is conducted between the participants, and the interview maximum for the 30 minutes. And the number of the participants should be less than the 20 participants or the samples. So let's talk about the different type of the interview methods. Basically, there are three type of the interviews. One is a structured interview, second is semi-structured, and third one is unstructured interview. So what is structured interview? Structured interview having a fixed set of the questions where the interviewer having a number of the questions already in their hand, and it should be in a specific order. It provides the basic, you can say the strength of the structured interview is provide the consistent data. An example of the structured interview is, for example, job interview. The second type of the interview is the semi-structured interview, where there is more flexibility at the interviewee side. So it having some set of the question, but allow for follow-up questions as well. So it's mean the discussions from the interview side is allowed, and it's this type of the interview having the more flexibility at one side. For example, research interviews, where the interviewer explored the basic themes. The third type of the interview method is the unstructured interview. Under this unstructured interview, there is no fixed questions. That means the interview don't have a specific type of the questions. Instead, the interviewer and the interview will do the conversation in a natural way. It will give us the more deeper explanation from the participants' experiences, their thoughts as well. Example of the unstructured interviews, life history interview. So now let's talk about another qualitative research method, that is the focus groups. In most of the interviews in qualitative research, the conversation is conducted in one-to-one settings, where the researcher speaks directly with an individuals or participants or the samples. However, in some cases, the focus group interviews are used to gather the multiple perspectives about the specific research problem. So, what is a focus group? A focus group is basically a discussion that involves multiple participants, usually between the 4 to 10 people can be involved in the focus group discussion, and where the different participants share their own experiences and opinions, and that will be helpful for collecting the data after considering the different perspectives about the research question. So here on this slide, I have added the different type of the research links that will be helpful for the students to understand about the research, different type of the research approaches, and how they can conduct their research about their selected topic. Finally, thank you very much for listening my lecture. Thank you.